Melvin Garlick. I am the District Program Quality Director, and I welcome everyone to our phase one of our Zoom training basic. It's going to be presented by a logistic manager. Before I turn the floor over to him, I want to acknowledge some of the dignitaries that are present here. We have a past region advisor, past district governor, Raeja Sherbertney. Give it a nice thank you for joining us, Raeja.
Thank you.
And let's give a nice warm welcome to our district director, Lisa Q.
Lisa.
And we also have a past division director, and I think he is our retention chair, Harry.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you. And then we have, I have to acknowledge Roman, who did a wonderful presentation at our mid-year, and he also is past contest chair, right? I have to recognize you for that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That was past chief judge was the highest position.
Past chief judge. And then we have the area director, Tamika Powell.
Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you for joining us. With that said, we are answering a request from the district by presenting Zoom training going forward, and it's going to be 3 phases. This month we have a training. Next month we have training will be a different phase, and the following month will be another training. I'm going to have the presenter outline what the program is going to be about, because he has some surprises for you. So without further ado, let's welcome to the virtual platform, Area 14 Director, our Logistic Manager for District 119, James Magalano.
Thank you, Mel. Thank you so much. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Zoom Training Level 1. I'm going to start off with a quote from the late Jim Rohn. He said, if it's easy to do, then what's the problem? It's easy not to do. So my goal for Zoom training, I wanted to make it easy so everyone can do it. We wanted to start with level 1, and I call this the basics. I'm going to share my screen. Now, the reason why I'm calling it the basics today is because you got to start with the basics. When we're kids, we actually got to learn how to crawl before we can walk, and walk before we could run. So that's the concept I'm using for the Zoom training tonight. So I'm going to be sharing my screen a lot, and I'm going to be talking around it as well. What is Zoom? Now, Zoom is a video conference platform, as you know and as you could see. Now, when the COVID-19 pandemic hit back in 2020, it's how we were able to survive. Because traditionally, Toastmasters has always been in person. We would meet at a location, give speeches, evaluations, and table topics, and we would network with the people we were in a club, as well as the guests. But when the pandemic hit in 2020, it affected everybody throughout the world. So we had no choice, we had to adapt. There were different platforms that were available, but the one that seemed to ring true for everybody in Toastmasters is Zoom, which is what we're on right now. Now, the key to Zoom is to always make sure that you have the updated version. As I listed here, the latest version is 15.12.9. And the easiest way you could find it in the picture, when you open Zoom, it has that screen, says either join a meeting or sign on. On the bottom, it will always list the latest version number. If you want to double check if you actually have the latest version, on the left-hand side where it says Zoom, you could actually go down and click check for updates. Don't do it now. You could do it after the meeting. Now, if you don't have a Zoom account, it's easy to create one. Now, if you're watching this now on Zoom, you got an account. Now, if you're watching this on the web, whether it's YouTube or a different platform, if you may not have an account, that's okay. It's free to create one. You visit the website below, zoom.us. Now, if you type zoom.com, it'll still take you to zoom.us. And you choose the first option that's in the corner. It says sign up for free. Now, all you need to sign up is an email and a password, and you could attend any Zoom events. It'll probably ask you for a birth date confirmation, but that's okay. Now, when you get into Zoom, you have to make sure you could enable your camera and microphone. This is essential to participate in every Zoom meeting, whether it's for a club, a contest, or even something else. Now, on a Mac, you want to go into your system preferences, which is a little gray box in the corner with a circle. It's your settings. You choose the tab that says privacy and security to make sure that you have your microphone enabled for Zoom and your camera enabled for Zoom. It's the easiest way we could communicate. And it will work the same way on the PC. You go to Control Panel to enable your camera and your microphone. Now, if you're using your iPhone, the same settings apply for Mac. And if you're using an Android phone, the same settings would still apply. Now, in the event you join a Zoom and you forget to enable it, because sometimes we turn it off, it happens, you get a pop-up box that says, allow Zoom to access your camera and microphone. And it'll tell you exactly how to do it. I'm on a Mac, so it says open system preferences, security and privacy to grant access. Now, to make this happen, you can either open system preferences, which won't let you into the Zoom right away. You open it, enable both. It'll say, please end Zoom so it can be enabled, so you can enable both. Okay, you end the Zoom, you sign back in, and then you have access. It works. Now, joining a Zoom meeting, you got two options. When you first got onto Zoom with that pop-up box, you could sign in with your Zoom ID and your password, which is fine. You click join, you enter the meeting ID, which is all numbers, and password, whatever the Zoom master chooses to make as a password. Option 2, click join meeting. This little box will pop up. It asks you for the same information. You enter your meeting ID, you put your name, just your name, not your titles, just your name. You could check remember your name for future meetings if you're going to be going to other Zooms, which is fine. But you do not check 2 or 3, because in a club level, you want to be able to be heard and you want to be able to be seen. So you want to make sure that those are unchecked. Now you click join. Now when you hit join, it'll actually make sure that you'll be joining the meeting. Now, if there's a passcode in the meeting, because sometimes there are, make sure you have that when you join. Chatting. Now there's a little box on the bottom that'll say chat. So you can chat. You can either chat publicly so everybody can see it, or you can chat privately. So if you chat with, if I wanted to send a Mel chat, I would choose Melvin Garlic and then type a message to Mel, which is the only person who would be able to see it. It's not something that everybody can see. Now the chat can be enabled or disabled by the co-host or the host. Now, when they enable the chat, it could be set to either everyone can chat, only the host and co-hosts can chat, or it can be completely disabled. So there's certain things you can and can't do. Now you got to remember, this is also as a participant. Now this is the most important feature you'll need to know. Pinning. This plays into your contest for when you're at a club level, because you need to pin the timer. It also happens in your club meetings too. When you're giving a speech, you want to know how far along you are in your speech and how much time do you have left. Anybody can be pinned. But here's the thing, when you pin on your laptop, it doesn't affect everybody else, just what you see. It's effective in the meetings and contests because you have to pin the timer to see where you stand. And in table topics, you got 2 minutes. So you want to know, are you going under or are you going over? So you always want to be conscious of it. And you also have to remember to unpin when you're done. And you could actually, it's the same button. Now, how do you pin? You move the mouse over to the right to the person's name and you pin them. Now, in the contest level, we'll get to that in another meeting. But if you want to pin the person who's speaking, so you just want to see them, yeah, you could pin them. You just right click. When the options pop down, you choose pin. Renaming yourself. This is one of the biggest things that I've known in the TLI sessions I've done, because a lot of people forget how to do this. But it's very important in the contest. So you rename yourself so you actually know which role, which speech you're competing for. And in training for officer training, what role are you training for? Now that's very important because this way, when it comes to breakout rooms, you're sorted accordingly. We'll get to that stuff in level 2. But for a meeting, it's important that you rename yourself. Now in the club, they just want to know who you are. You could either do your full name or just your first name. It's up to you. Now, how do you rename yourself? This is very important. On the bottom, you'll see something that says participants. Click on that. Now, once you do that, the screen should shift over a little bit and you should see everybody's names on the right-hand side of your screen. Move your mouse over to your right name, over to your name. And by the way, your name is the only one that you can change when you're a participant. You right-click on your name. There should be some pop-ups that come up. When you move your mouse over, there will be a blue box that says More. Click that and you choose Rename. Now, once you do that, you'll have 2 options. I'm going to move this over so you can see it. See, it's going to look like this. It'll have your name. It'll say mute, which would turn my sound off here, and more. When you hit more, oops, it'll either be rename or edit profile picture. Now, if you chose rename, you type the name that you want, you hit enter, and that will change your name. Now, that's the basics for Zoom. Those are the only things you're going to be able to do, and those are the only functionalities that you need. Now, if you have any specific questions regarding these topics, either renaming, pinning, joining, please enable your microphones and cameras to ask any questions you'd like to know.
I'll go first, James.
Sure.
It's more in hybrid meetings where I'm plugging in my laptop to different TVs or audio systems in the library. And sometimes I'm plugging in a remote microphone and they don't always work right. So I'm learning to go into the settings and check things in Zoom. But I'm wondering, it seems like if I plug the microphone into the jack, I've got to do that before I start Zoom, or it doesn't see it properly. Is that correct?
Yes. I'll go into the specifics on hybrids when we get to level 3, but for the Zoom parameters, I'll just mention that. If you have an external device outside of your laptop, always make sure that's enabled in your settings before you join the Zoom. I'll give you an example. For myself, I'm trying to get into VoiceOver. Now, right here, I don't have the microphone or the interface. So when I actually bring my laptop down to the area that I record in, what I'll do is I'll plug it in, make sure everything is enabled before I join the Zoom. Because in your settings, you're going to have to indicate, I want to use a different microphone, I want to use a different camera. You have to make sure that's enabled before you get into the Zoom. If you don't, it's going to actually go to your default camera and microphone. It is a good question, though, because a lot of times in Zoom, if you want to use an external camera that's over there because you want to capture a room because you want to see what everybody else is doing, that's fine. But you have to be able to switch it back. That's where it gets a little bit tricky. But we'll get to that when we get to hybrid. But
Okay.
for the club, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. If you're actually going to be using your laptop and you want to have an external camera, yeah, just have that set up before you even start the Zoom. That's the key. As long as you have the external camera and microphone set before you go in Zoom, you're good. Otherwise, have somebody else as the host. So if you got to jump out, re-enable and jump back in, the meeting can still go on as planned.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Does anybody else have any other
Yeah.
questions?
I think it's in fact pretty good the way that you have explained, how to kind of rename yourself. But I'll be honest with you, just the basics to get in. If I have the link, I'm sorry, if the link has been sent to me and I don't have any challenges to kind of link on that, with that link, I'm fine. Okay, can turn my camera on and I can unmute myself. As far as the chatting is concerned, a little bit, by now I should know, I know a little bit. But the most important and the challenging problem that I have here is how do you, while you're in the meeting, how do you rename? You know, like you explained the procedure, right? But I have this kind of a fear that I might be kicked out of the meeting. I'm not sure with that.
That's okay. Everybody has to start somewhere, Naz. Let me actually walk you through it so you can see it.
Mhm.
So in your main screen, if you move your mouse in your window, a little menu should pop up at the bottom, right? And it'll give you some options, just say stuff like mute, stop video,
Mhm.
and then it should also say chat. Mike, the third one should say participants.
That's right.
Right.
Mhm. I
Now,
have,
when you click the participants, what's going to happen is right now you're full screen.
Mhm.
If you hit participants, I'm going to do this with you. Press that, the window will shift. The
Shall I
video
try
window
it?
will shift. And then the left-hand side will say, on your right side, it'll say participants. So it will show everybody in the meeting, right? If you move the mouse over to your name, right? Like you move the mouse to Nassau Cocker, right?
Mhm.
It'll see two options, two blue bars. One will say mute, the other one will say more. Well, in my case, it says mute more. In your case, it should say more. When you click the drop down, there's a little arrow pointing down for more. If you click that, it should give you options of what you can do. What does it say on your screen when you do that?
So I'm gonna go where it says participants, right? I'm gonna click on that.
Right?
Okay, I did that.
And you should
Okay.
see that window on the side of everybody's names.
Yeah,
right?
I have my name there, so I'm gonna click on my name.
Move it to the right. So you should see either, what options do you see when you move the mouse to your name?
If I'm, okay, it says mute. And then what else is there? Well, it just has, those three dots.
So that's what I have is the three dots. It's a different, right?
Mhm.
So you would click on the three dots, is that correct?
Correct.
I click on the three dots.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it doesn't allow me to click on that. Oh, come. Okay. All right. All right. I did click on the three dots and it says pin.
Okay. So it does give you the option to pin, which
Okay.
is good.
And rename and spotlight.
Well, it
Well,
just,
when in host and co-host, it gives you the more options.
yeah,
Oh,
it just
yeah,
says,
okay.
yeah, in that drop down, I have pin and then underneath it says rename.
There we go. As long as it says rename,
Yeah.
you could rename yourself to whatever you want it to be. But the thing is, at a club level, it just has to be your name.
Okay.
Now, you have to remember, when you were in the last Zoom, it still saves your settings. So if, like in my case, it says logistics manager, when I actually close the Zoom and go back into the account and sign in, it'll say logistics manager, James P. Manganello. So I'll have to change that manually.
Mhm.
And that's okay. That's just one thing to be conscious of. Zoom remembers the last way you had it. So if it was a contest and you renamed yourself by the type of contest, like table topics would be TT and then your name, when you sign back into the Zoom, it'll say TT Naz Cocker.
Okay.
So I suggest Naz, try it. Well, you have all of us here that have done it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
Naz, try renaming yourself right now.
Okay.
And
So
just-
I click on rename first, where it
Yeah.
says rename.
Yep,
Okay.
follow the same steps, click rename,
Okay. So enter your name. It's already there.
type
So
something
so
different.
change it, type something different.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Star. Okay. Now, what do I
Hit
do?
Hit
I did.
enter.
Okay.
Star, there it is. That's how you change your name.
Brilliant.
Well done.
Thank you.
Now,
Now, there's another way.
Yeah.
I've never done it that way, James. I always do it in the little window where I see my picture. You
Yeah.
also get
Oh,
the
that's
same
right.
menu on Windows.
Right, that's the way I always do it too.
Mhm.
I go right to my frame, my picture frame, click on the three dots, and it's the same thing.
that's the other option.
That's the other
Naz,
option.
on the top row of the window where you actually see everybody's picture,
Mhm.
when you move the mouse to your picture or a picture, you'll see those three dots. In this case, it'll be on this side over here. So when you click that, it should give you the same options. Pin or rename.
Mhm. Now, I'm still looking at the screen that I opened. And of course, I understand the reason why it took my name off and it has got star there.
Correct.
So if I were to go back and put my name in there again, or tap my name,
Yeah.
Yes.
so what do I do now?
We're
Okay,
talking about
let's
a
do it.
different way to do that.
Yeah, let's
Yeah.
do it the other way. Click the button on the bottom that says participants so you hide that.
Okay, so I go back. Okay.
Right. So now you're full screen
Done.
and the video is
Yeah.
full screen.
Okay.
Now, on the top up there, not where your video is here, up on the top, you see where everybody's picture is?
Yeah.
Find yourself.
Yeah. Okay. I do.
Okay, move your mouse there.
All right.
And you should see mute and then the little box with 3 dots.
Right.
Click the box with the 3 dots. Tell me what you see.
I see all kinds of things here. Mute my audio, stop video,
Yeah, you get a whole bunch of stuff.
That's
or
it.
pin myself or something. Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
And the
That's all
bottom
the
one's
things.
rename.
Yeah. It says rename. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So
Choose
click
the
on
button.
rename there and put your name back. So
Okay.
you-
Wow. That sounds great.
Now you
Ooh,
know
I'm
how to
getting
do
it.
it. That's how you do it. That's
Yeah. So I'm
it.
gonna put my name in there. Okay. AZ.
And you know what I found interesting while we're going through this, James, we're all playing. I went over other people's pictures. Like I clicked
it.
on Lisa's.
there you go. Very
That's
good.
it. That's
Got
it. That's it.
It says your name is changed to Naz Cocker. I thought you
You
had
got it.
the full name. All right. Okay.
You got it.
It's interesting. Yeah. I'm enjoying it. Okay.
See, that's the key. It has to be simple.
Okay.
When I'm teaching this, I wanted to make it simple because if it's simple and it's easy to do, then everybody can do this. It doesn't matter whether you're an experienced computer person or if you're on your cell phone or your tablet, whether you're on a Mac or a PC. As long as you understand the steps that you need to do, you can get it done. That's it. Because the reason why we're here is not a technology company. I mean, this is Toastmasters. It's where leaders are made, yeah. But you lead by example, not just in our speeches or how we actually are in clubs, but look at it the other way. We do it in Zoom too. We lead by actually doing the right thing, making sure our settings are correct, chatting if we need to. And also when we're speaking in contests, making sure we pin the timer or whatever else we need to do. There's little tricks along the way, but each little thing adds up to something else because when it comes down to it, these are the basics for a club meeting. And what we learn here in level 1 carries into level 2 and 3 because it's like riding a bicycle. We got to start out with the training wheels. If we actually tried the 2-wheel and the 5-speed on our first time out, it's not easy. We don't have all the knowledge or the expertise of the basics to be able to move forward. The same concept with Zoom. That's why I tried to design it this way. So this way, everybody understands the basics, how to chat, how to join a Zoom, how to pin, how to turn your microphone on and off, or your camera on and off. So if you turn your video off, you could still be heard. But if you turn your microphone, a little bit exaggerated, but you kind of get the idea.
Hey, James, well said. And you know, when you were helping Naz with rename, I've always known about the menu on my picture, but I went over to like Harry and Lisa and I clicked on their 3 dots and I found out, oh, that's a quick, easy way to start a private chat.
Yes.
I've always used the chat on the bottom and then the drop down, find that person's name. Here, it's a 1-step process. So I learned something new.
Brilliant.
It's also advantage because of the fact that in the club level and you actually see something happening and you're thinking, did they guest? Do we have their information? You could message your VPN, boom, right off the top menu. Hey, could you get their information? It's the fastest way to communicate and it's less obtrusive because if you do it that way, and I send a quick message to Mel and I hit chat and I say, hey, Mel, boom, he sends it and he gets it. And the meeting will go on as normal and nobody will know about it. Does anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, I have. Can you hear me? Okay, I had to check and see this on. So I just so Nas and someone who may not understand it, let them go through the process of pinning somebody here.
Oh,
So
yeah.
she see. So Nas, why don't you pin me?
Okay, brilliant.
See what-
I'm trying to click on your picture, but I don't see the dots coming up.
Okay, move the mouse.
No,
over
you have
to your picture.
Okay,
to go
right
to your
here.
picture.
Yeah, I think I got it. Okay.
It's the same way you did rename.
Ooh,
You
I
go
got
to the
it.
picture on the top, right.
But
Now,
you have to
you
go to
see-
your picture, the three dots.
now,
Mine?
Or not.
now, here's whose picture did you pin?
Mel's.
Mel's?
Yeah.
Now, you see Mel, but you hear me. That's the thing with pin. Pin is very specific to the user. In other words, I'm talking, and right now on the Zoom, my box is lit, is green because I'm the one talking and moving around. But on your computer, you only see Mel. That's the
right.
difference in pin. Pin is more specific to the particular person. I could pin Harry and I'll only see Harry. Or Don could pin you and he'd only see you. This is the good thing when you're actually in the club level, when you come doing a speech or a table topics, because when you say pin the timer,
Mhm.
in the club level, it'll say timer in their name. So when you're about to give a speech, you pin that timer using the same way you just did. And this way, when you start your speech, you know how much time you have before, if it changes green, you know the way everything works accordingly in table topics and speech. But it makes it a lot easier. So you're more conscious of the time that you have to be able to say what you're trying to say. But the most important thing after that, when you're done, unpin them. It's the same way. You just go to the same feature. You go over to those three dots to click Mel's name. You hit unpin, and then that would unpin the person.
I don't see the dots now.
Move your mouse over. You only see
Oh,
Mel
you
on
know
your
what,
screen.
James?
Hmm?
Instead, more to the left side, there's a little faded button that appears when you hover over it. Says remove pin.
That's it. Try
Okay.
that, Naz.
The remove pin is on the picture of the person that after you pin them.
How come I don't see it?
But it's well hidden with very tiny letters. So look very carefully.
On the
Yes.
left or the right?
On the left. It's almost on the left corner.
The left corner?
Almost. Not quite. At the top.
Oh, I know where he's talking about. What happens is when you
Yeah.
pin the person and they take up the full screen,
Yeah.
when you move that mouse over the corner where it says recording, right
Mhm.
next to it, it should say remove pin
Next to the recording?
in the big screen, in the big screen.
Yeah, yeah. I'm looking at, okay.
On my screen is,
How
I
come I
think
don't?
remove pin is on the top.
Correct. Once
Hmm.
you pin somebody and they're on your main screen, it gives you the option to remove the pin in the top corner.
I don't understand why my PC is not letting me do that.
Hmm,
I don't see it.
Let me try something.
Okay.
Okay, I pinned Mel and I see him throughout the screen, and in the top left corner of the picture, in my left corner, it's your right. Over on this side, it will say remove pin. So when I move the mouse there, it says remove pin and I end pin. The other way you could find out is on the bottom, right? I'll
Mm.
show you this real quickly. When you pin somebody on the bottom, you see a little pin with their name, right? Like a little thumbtack.
It's a full screen. I don't see that.
On the bottom left corner where the person's name is, it
Yeah,
should
I
have a
don't see
little
that.
should have a little tack next to the name.
Don't see that at all. How come? I don't know. It's just a screen and I see Val's picture there, but I don't see anything else there.
Hey, James, I just found another way in Windows. I get the remove pin button you're talking about, but it fades in and out. But the other way on Windows, if you just right click anywhere on the window you've pinned,
Oh,
it brings up the menu options that are left. In my case, it's chat or remove pin.
Try that, Naz.
it has done something else now. Oh, God. Okay. What should I do? I'm trying.
Unfortunately, the only thing I've noticed in Zoom is I can't unpin for
Mm.
everybody else. That's the one thing Zoom won't do. Because yes, I could spotlight, but that's a different story. Pinning, I can't, they don't have like a broadcast message. They don't have like a broadcast unpin. Unfortunately, they don't.
But this is why it's kind of, beating me here. Why can't I? It was easier to pin, but then I can't undo it now.
Wait a minute,
Yeah,
on the
so-
photo, let me try. one
Yeah.
second.
So you'll go, it's at the top right,
The top right.
top left, I mean, top left is faded. And you see recording, and to the right of that, it will say
There is
unpinned.
something else that is coming up. I think that's hiding the whole information.
No,
It says here the participant has enabled closed captioning or something.
no, to the left of that, with very small letters, and there is a little pin, and it says remove pin. It is
Which one?
recording, and next to the word recording,
Yeah, next to the word recording.
it says remove pin, at least on my screen.
Wow.
It's in between the recording words and the one that says a bit about participant as they
This
were
is an
captured.
Would she be able to share screen? Maybe she can show us what she's.
Yes, Anthony.
Well,
of course
that's
it
getting
is.
more complicated. There's so much stuff
Oh,
here.
boy.
Yeah.
Something wrong with my this thing here. That's why I'm not able to. Or should I go back to the participants and get their name on the side and, oh no, but that wouldn't work, right?
Well, let's see if she could. Well, the other way to do it is you change the view, right? Because even if you pin done, correct me if I'm wrong, even if somebody is pinned and they're in speaker view, but if you change it to gallery view, it should show everybody, right?
Yeah, and you know what? And she's right. If she goes back to participants, if you use that method, the first one you talked about, it does show pin, remove pin. So that
Right.
way, it works.
Will I try that?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Assuming you still have Mel pinned.
Okay, so I'm looking for Mal's name here. Okay, I got his name here. Okay. Remove pin.
Ta-da.
Yeah, I got it, right.
Yeah,
Okay,
sometimes it's a better, sometimes you
You're
have
back.
to take a
You're
roundabout
back
way of
now.
getting things
Yeah,
done.
okay.
It's okay. Let's see. Oh, yes, this is what I wanted to share, if I may. I got 2 more slides, Mel, real quick. Now, right now being December 14th, since we're actually going through level 1 of the training, we also got level 2 coming up, January 4th. Now, this is going to be important for everybody for one reason. We're talking about contest training here. It's basically taking the techniques we're learning for level 1 and more for the contests. And by contest, I'm talking everything: club, area, division, district, and international. Because what you learn that you apply at the club goes all the way across the board. And that's beneficial for everybody. Now, yes, I did make a flyer for it. Zoom contest level training level 2, it's applying level 1 training and more to contest level. And this is what we're going to teach you. It's taught by me. You're going to learn pin, which we did today, but we're going to review it because we're going to compare pin with a spotlight. It's a little different. We're also going to go into breakout rooms. We're going to go into the interviews because, as you know, in contest level, people were interviewed with there's an interview section at the end. We're also going to go into teamwork, how it's important to have a team working with you to make a contest function effectively. And we're also going to go into what Mel and I are right now, the advantage of a co-host versus a co-host and a co-host versus a participant, because the roles are a little different. There's a little bit more functionality, but we're not going to go into that. We're going to go into that then. Now, if you want to register for it, you can register for it here on this Zoom link. I'm also going to post it in the chat. And once you register for it, you're going to receive a confirmation email containing the information about joining the meeting. So thank you for attending the training today. I do thank you very much for your questions, because your questions, it's not just for me, it's for anybody who actually has questions down the line when you actually have to go through it, because this is, bottom line, it's a team effort. We're all in this to learn, we're all in this to help each other. I'm going to post the link in the chat, and that's the link to register for level 2 of the training. Does anybody have any other questions?
Nice job, James. Thank you.
Thank you, James.
Yeah,
Thank
great
you,
job.
James.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Okay, and just remember, this was the basic, because there are members who still struggle with the basics of Zoom. So we want to start here, and then we're going to progress every month. Just like James said, we're going to go into more contest ready, especially if you are going to participate as a Zoom master or sergeant at arms at your club contest or your area contest. This is the place to be, and you should share the information with members that are interested in doing that, so we can have a smooth contest season, a little smoother. But you know, the basics, a lot of us knows, but they know, and a few of us still struggle with it. So and just the rename of yourself, it saves time, it just and energy when we're all on the same page and we understand all the functionalities. And James did a great job in just taking his time and showing us the basics of Zoom and having a Zoom account.
Thank you, Mel.
So any other questions?
Look, I clicked on the link
Yeah.
to register for the next one and it doesn't work.
Let me try it.
You
So
lost your way.
you can
It
also
says,
put,
you seem to have lost your way. Let us help you find what you're looking for.
I would always, yeah, that's not, let me,
I just double checked the link and it worked. So
No, I just registered and I did not have any problems. I even received a confirmational email.
Let me copy and paste because I just clicked on it. Okay.
and also you can also go to the district website and all the information with all the training and the
Yes,
events coming up,
okay.
you can access.
Okay, let me tell you, for if anyone else faces the same issue, I was able to fix it. You should not click on that link because the minus at the very end is not underlined. After there's a minus at the very end. So you should copy and paste the entire string, including the minus.
Okay, so that's it. So
That is, yes.
so that's it.
That's it, yes.
I never click on it. I always copy and paste and then click on it. So I never
Okay,
click on
yes.
it. Yeah. So before, yes, Raisa, you have a question?
Yeah, if I can ask, when I receive a link, I don't know if this is matter when I log in from the phone or from the computer. For example, I clicked on the link for this webinar, but I was unable to log in. It asked me to go and to install the Zoom application on my phone. So when I just went to Google and I found Zoom login, I was able to enter the meeting ID and the password. I wanted to ask if anybody knows why there are challenges that sometimes people, when they click on the link, they cannot get to the Zoom.
sometimes
Because-
if I may, sometimes whatever device that you're using, whether it's a laptop, a tablet, a cell phone, it's important that the device have the application Zoom installed.
Oh, this is...
The most important thing that I was mentioning earlier is it's also important to have the updated version of Zoom. In a laptop and a tablet, you could see it from here. Like if you actually move to where it says zoom.us in the corner and click it, it'll say something that says check for updates. That will update your version of Zoom to the latest version. Now, you'll always want to stay with the latest version because one day I forgot because of time. And I went to a TLI. I did not have all the functionality that I needed to because everybody else updated the platform. So I had to leave the meeting, update, and then jump back in. So if you're going to join a Zoom, you can always check to see if there's the update. And then it'll install it, and then you can just jump into your Zoom.
Mhm. Thank you so much, James.
You're welcome.
Hey, James,
Mhm.
the Zoom link I registered, it's Thursday, January 5th,
Okay,
and yet your PowerPoint said it was Wednesday.
I could change it. That's easy to do. And then what I'll do is when I change it, I'll change that little flyer I have too. And we have time before the 5th, so I could actually have that changed today.
No
Thank you for
worries.
catching
Yep.
that, Don.
Yeah, I already took a note. I plan to attend because I'm bringing this stuff back to my club. So thanks again for sharing.
Thank you, Don. I think that's important for everybody because what you learn in training, it's like attending the TLI training. When you attend a training, what you learn is the different tips and techniques you may not specifically know for yourself, but hearing it from somebody else gives you that little incentive that, you know, maybe we could use this in the club. Maybe there's something we're not doing. Maybe we could add this into the meeting and see how it actually incorporates. It's trial and error, the whole thing. But the good thing about it is we're constantly learning and growing, not just as Toastmasters and speakers, but technology-wise too. With all the updates and changes, we adapt to try to keep moving forward. So thank you folks for coming for training today. I do appreciate it. I look
Thank
forward to
you.
seeing you at level 2.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.